evening, Marion County. Let's see here, looking at that beautiful American flag flying over the Graham Memorial Park in Lebanon. It is our 10th question and answer live event here at the Marion County Clerk's Office, and we're going to be talking about tonight absentee ballots, buying vehicles online, and the deadline to pay your property taxes. We're going to make it quick tonight because it's T-ball time, and I need to be at the T-ball field before too long, or make preparations so that a portion of my family can be at the T-ball field at least. But your questions are important to us. So if there is something other than absentee ballots, buying vehicles online, or property taxes that you'd like to talk about tonight, don't hesitate to give us a call, 270-692-2651. You can put them in the chat. Let me bring it up here right now. There, I've got that up to where I can see that. All right, let's get right into it. We was talking about T-ball. It's almost T-ball season, but it is definitely election season. We have already been sending ballots out in Marion County. The first ballots went out, we sent a military ballot out on Monday, and Tuesday we sent out a dozen or so, and today we sent out a few more than a dozen, so we're up to 30-some ballots. 30-some people have in their possession or on their way to their possession a ballot to vote in this primary election that's coming up. Now, who would be eligible to vote by absentee mail-in ballot? Let's look at the reasons here. There are 8 of them. One of them does not pertain to this election. You can guess which one. We'll start it out. I'm just going to read it to you. It says, number 1, I am a covered voter under the Kentucky Uniform Military and Overseas Act, KRS 117A.010. Here's a very popular one. I am a student who temporarily resides outside the county of my residence. So a lot of college students will call in and need their absentee ballot. We've also got, I am incarcerated in jail, but have not been convicted of the crime for which I have been charged. So, as long as you're not a felon, a convicted felon, you are eligible to vote in Kentucky. So, there are people that have been arrested and are innocent until proven guilty and not proven guilty yet, so they are still eligible to vote. And we can and have before in the past mailed people ballots in jail. Number 4, I have changed my place of residence to a different state during a period in which my new state's voter registration books are closed. You will receive a ballot only for the offices of President and Vice President of the United States. So that one does not pertain to this election because we do not have President and Vice President on the ballot this time. I am temporarily residing outside of Kentucky, but I am still eligible to vote in the state. We get a lot of people that are working out of the state, live here, their family lives here, they live here, and they're working out of state and need us to send them a ballot. So that's what we will do. I'll be absent from my county of residence on election day and on all the days that in-person absentee voting is conducted. So if you're going to be out during the 6-person absentee or the 6-day in-person absentee window that we have here in the office, or during early voting, or during election day, then you can get a ballot mailed to you. I am a participant in the Secretary of State's Crime Victim Address Confidentiality Program. If that pertains to you, then yes, we can get you a ballot for sure. And then number 8, I am not able to appear at the polls on election day or on the days in-person absentee voting is conducted on account of age, disability, or illness, and I have not been declared mentally disabled by a court of competent jurisdiction. So that the two that, you know, we get a lot of college students, but we get a lot of people that just can't get out, you know, for one reason or another, for age or disability, can't get out of their home, so we mail them a ballot. That's what makes you eligible to get a mail-in absentee ballot. That portal opened on Saturday. So we're at April 9th right now. It's been open since April 5th. April 5th was 45 days prior to the election, so math means we're probably about 40 days away from the election right now. That portal will be open until May the 5th. So there is a pretty good window there to request an absentee ballot, but it does close. And it closes a couple of weeks before the election. So if you need one, go ahead and you can get online at govote.ky.gov and request a ballot, or you can request a ballot by giving us a call at the office at 270-692-2651. If you call us, there's a couple of questions we're going to ask you. We're going to ask for your Social Security number, and we're going to ask for your telephone number. Your Social Security number so that we can properly identify you in the voter registration system, and we're going to make sure that we've got your address right and where you need the ballot sent to, and we're going to get your telephone number in case there's some kind of issue with your ballot when you send it back. There's a couple different ways it can be returned to us. You can mail it back to us, or we've got a drop box right inside the office here, secured and under camera, to where it can be dropped off at any time. Make sure you sign both of the envelopes so that it can be counted once we get it. There is a provision to where if we mail you a ballot and you don't receive it, we can issue a ballot to a person, to the voter in person. So we're going to get you a ballot. If you're eligible and a registered voter and are wanting to vote, we're going to do everything we legally can to help you vote. That's what we're going to do here at the County Clerk Office. Now, are you registered to vote? If you're not, that deadline's coming up too. It's the 9th right now. The deadline to register to vote is the 20th. So if you're not registered to vote, or if you need to update your address so that you're voting in the right magistrate district, or if you need to change your county, then you can do that at govote.ky.gov. You're going to hear me say that address a lot. It is, I don't have that slide up here, but govote.ky.gov is your one-stop shop. You can check your voter registration to see what your districts are, you know, what state senate district, state house district, magistrate district, school board district, what party you're registered with, your address, make sure that everything's correct. You can apply, you can request an absentee ballot, you can update your voter registration. It's never a bad idea to update your voter registration. We've had some people before that you can tell when they're watching the nightly news, because one day they are mad at that party, the next day they're mad at another party, and we'll get a voter registration card for them, you know, regularly, and that's okay. It's good. Now, what you got to be, what you got to be cautious of is if you are changing your party affiliation, you want to make sure that you don't do that after December 31st, because you're going to get this box right here, and you probably can't read that. Maybe I kind of made this graphic just for my own personal use, because I had some voter registrations that people were wanting to change their party affiliation, and I felt bad about accepting their application, because when you change your party affiliation after December 31st, it knocks you out of being able to vote in the party that you're choosing and the party that you were at. You know, you have to be continuously registered as a member of a party after December 31st until the primary to vote in the primary. And you get this box right here, and that box says, if you change your party registration after December 31st, you will not be eligible to vote in that party's primary. What it doesn't tell you is that you're not eligible to vote in any primary. So just be cautious of that. Go ahead and update your voter registration anytime you want, and you can change your party affiliation right now. It's just going to knock you out of the primary election, and like I say, we want people to vote. So I hate for that to happen. Now, regardless of what your party affiliation is, when you get to November, when we get to the general election in November, you can vote for any candidate that you want to. If you want to vote for a Democrat on one race and a Republican on another race and an independent on another race, or neither party or neither candidate on another race because you don't like either one of them, you can do that. But in the primary election, you can only vote for the party that you're registered as. So let's look at what is on the ballot this time. Last time we did this, I started with Republicans, so this time I'm going to start with Democrats. And let me get that off of there. This is what the Democrat ballot's going to look like in Marion County. If you're a registered Democrat and eligible for the primary, these are the offices that you will have to that'll be on your ballot. Now, if you're in District 1, 2, or 4, you're going to see everything that's on that line with the sheriff, jailer, state senator, U.S. senator. If you're in District 3, you'll have a magistrate race, and if you're in District 5, you'll have a magistrate race. So let's go through what everybody will see. Everybody that's a registered Democrat will have the sheriff's race between Ray Gardner, William Chad Rakes, and Jeff Coyle. Everybody that's a registered and eligible Democrat will have the jailer race between Tony Furman and Tina Wright Huntsberger. Everybody that is a registered and eligible Democrat in Marion County will have the state senate race between Carrie Gribbins Truitt and Malcolm W. Jones, and the U.S. Senate senator race between Blanton, Thompson, Booker, Stevenson, Romans, Forsythe, and McGrath. Now, if you're in District 3, you're going to have the magistrate race between Craig Allen Bishop and Tommy Troutman. And if you're in District 5, you'll have the magistrate race between Caleb Buckman and Glenn G. Thompson. District 3 is Raywick, St. Joe, everything west of Campbellsville Highway, kind of. Most of Miller Pike, and some of St. Mary's Highway. District 5 is mostly north of Lebanon, the St. Rose Road area, the Springfield Highway area, everything north of Main Street. It gets over there to Loretta Road in the Sam Browning, Coward Lane, Arthur Mangley Road area, and all the way over to the west side of Barber's Mill Road. So that's District 5. And that's what you see as a Democrat voter in our in the primary this time. Now let's look and see what we got on. If you're a registered and eligible Republican voter, you're going to see every Republican in Marion County will have the same ballot this time, and these are the offices that you'll be able to vote for. You'll have the state senate race that includes Peggy Brady Smith, Brian Bayers, James Victory, Ben Mudd, Stephen Carney, Dallas Robinson, and Lynn Shelburne. You'll have the county judge executive race between Joe Strong and Walter E. Livers Jr. You'll have the U.S. Senate race between a whole lot of them: Wenzel, Duncan, Washington, Frederick, Barr, Morris, Leon, Shelley, Cameron, Catlett, Ferris, and Holiday, and the U.S. congressional race between Sims, Sotheby, Arcos, and Comer. That is what the Republican ballot will look like this time. Now, let's look at what a primary election is. We were talking about in November you can vote for whoever you want. A primary election in Kentucky is held on the first Tuesday after the third Monday, which is May 19th this year. It is a nominating election for the parties. I see Jonathan's comment there. Thank you, Jonathan. It ain't for lack of trying. We try around here, and I work with some of the best people that you could possibly work with, and every one of my fellow co-workers here at the County Clerk Office, we We don't always get it right, but we sure do try to. And appreciate you saying that. So yeah, a primary election is a nominating election for the parties. It's closed to the qualified registered members of the party. And to be qualified, a voter must be a registered member of the party by December 31st of the year preceding the primary. And to stay qualified, a voter must stay continuously registered as a member of the party until the primary. And that's when we started doing these live events. Like I say, this is the 10th one we've done. And we started doing them in the fall last year, in the winter, in anticipation of this December 31st deadline. Because we'll get it. There were 20-some people that I approved voter registrations applications on who had changed their party the other day. Saturday morning, we were closed. And after a long march, I came in and made sure that we got our voter registration caught up. And there were some party affiliations that I had kind of sat to the side because I didn't want to. I hate knocking somebody out of voting, but also I can't tell people what to do either. You know, I honor people's wishes, and there have definitely been times that I have been frustrated with one party and the other party and both parties and all parties. So I can understand the need to change your party affiliation. So a voter can only vote in one party's primary, where we just broke it down. You know, this is what Democrats will be able to vote for. This is what Republicans will be able to vote for. You can only vote in one. So there's going to be some people, and I'm one of them, that want to vote for all of them. You know, I want to vote in every one of those races, but I'm not going to be able to. So a voter can only vote in one party's primary, and the choice of which party a voter will participate in must be made prior to December 31st. So that's primary elections 101 right there. Here's some important election dates to remember. April 4th has come and gone. That's what that was the day that the portal opened. So it opened on Saturday. I was looking at the calendar there, and Sunday was the 5th. So yeah, it opened on Saturday, and you can now request your mail-in ballot. The 20th is the last day to register to vote. That's what we were just talking about. The portal closes on May the 5th, so we're kind of reviewing some of the things we've already talked about here. Now here's some new information that we haven't talked about yet. The portal for a mail-in ballot's going to end, but there will come a point to where what makes the voter eligible is basically the same as in those eligibility for mail-in ballots. These reasons here, they're very similar. Basically being, I'm not going to be here during early voting and election day, is the reason that people can come in that 6 days and in-person absentee vote here at the office. It's May 6th, 7th, 8th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. You notice there's a gap there between the 8th and the 11th. The 9th is a Saturday. Now, historically, before 2022, we would be here on that Saturday doing our regular county clerk work, and would have a machine to where somebody could vote in person, absentee. The law does not allow that now. So we're going to be here on May the 9th because it's a Saturday that doesn't, it's not a holiday Saturday. We're here every Saturday except for holiday Saturdays. And we're going to be here, and we can do your we can do your vehicles and record your deeds and issue you a marriage license, but we won't be able to let you cast a ballot that day because the law explicitly says that it's those 6 days that in-person absentee voting takes place. So that's what we'll do. Now, May 14th, 15th, and 16th, that's early voting. That's no excuse absentee voting. And the law dictates when we can do that, and the County Board of Elections, made up of a Democrat member and a Republican member and the sheriff and the county clerk, we're doing the same thing we did during the presidential. We're going to do 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. There was one county during the presidential that had 12-hour early voting days, and I would be willing to bet that we're probably going to be the only one that's going to offer that much early voting. But we're blessed with a tremendous group of poll workers, and we're blessed with a great place to do it out at the event center. So we're going to do it to it, and we'll have early voting from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the 14th, 15th, and 16th out at the event center and Sportsplex, the new building out on the bypass beside Farm Bureau and in front of Good Buddies Brewing and the meat market. You can come and vote and then go play some pickleball or shoot some basketball, or they've got ping pong, and I don't know. It's a great place. Spent most of the winter out there this year with basketball and everything else. So that's early voting, 8 to 8 all 3 days. And like I say, can't thank our poll workers enough. We'll run 2 shifts, and we've got the best group of poll workers, the best group of precinct election officers that you can have, and that's what makes that possible, to have so much accessibility for our voters. So that'll be early voting, 14th, 15th, and 16th out at the event center. And then May 19th, we'll have voting from 6 to 6 at 12 polling locations around Marion County, the traditional 12. And you'll be able to vote if you're a registered voter in Marion County who has not taken advantage of any of the early voting or absentee voting options to this point, and you get to election day and you haven't voted yet, you'll have 12 locations that you can vote at, and you can vote at any of them. You know, if you live in St. Mary's but you're going to Danville, then you can vote in Gravel Switch on your way through. Like if you live in, I'm trying to think of a circumstance where you would just pass up St. Charles. But hopefully you get the point of what I'm trying to say. You can, if you're going to Campbellsville, you can stop at the Coon Hunters Club. If you're in town, you can stop at the library or here or at Center Square or at the VFW. You can, if you're going to morning mass out at Holy Name of Mary, you can stop at the parish hall afterwards and go ahead and vote. It's 12 locations, and you can pick which one you want to go to. Looking at the time here, I always tend to go a little longer than I want, and I told my beautiful wife, Caitlin, that I would be home at a certain point, so let's keep it rolling here. If anybody has any questions, they can always give us a call or email me at chad.mattingly@ky.gov, or, you know, look back at some of these live events or our social media posts. We try to keep you informed. Try to do as good as we can to keep you up to date. Another thing that you want to watch out for is people are getting their, let's shift gears from elections to motor vehicles. One of the big things we do around here is the titling and registration of motor vehicles, and people are getting their income tax checks. You know, tax day is next Wednesday, April 15th, and some people, you know, use that money to buy a vehicle. Well, you want to be cautious if you're buying a vehicle online on Facebook Marketplace, or if you're selling on Facebook Marketplace or eBay or Craigslist or any of the online places where people buy and sell goods, make sure that the seller of that vehicle has the title for that vehicle. If they're selling it no title, you better be wondering why it doesn't have a title. Make sure that if they do have a title, all right, they made it through the first checkpoint. You know, this is they've got to meet certain benchmarks. Make sure they've got a title. If they don't have a title, you might want to keep on looking. If they do have a title, make sure that that title is in the name of the seller. Make sure that they're not that they've bought something that they've had problems with, and now they're trying to pass it on to the next person. Make sure that they've got title to it and that the title is in their name. Next, if you got a VIN number, you can call us up. We can tell you if it's got any delinquent taxes on it or if it's got any liens. We can't tell you any personal information about that, if it's title, you know, who it's titled to or anything like that. But we can tell you if there's going to be any delinquent taxes or if there's any liens that would hold it up. And liens aren't a bad thing. You know, people selling things that there's going to be a lien on it sometimes, but you want to be aware of that before you get into the business of giving anybody any money. Here's the biggest part. If you're buying or if you're selling, meet the other person at the county clerk office and get it transferred. If you're buying something, you want to make sure that you can get it in your name. You want to make sure that that lien or that delinquent tax doesn't inhibit you from being able to get that piece of property in your name, that you're able to transfer that vehicle. If you're selling something, we have people come in all the time, said, I had it signed and notarized and I gave them the title. Well, that's equivalent to me writing you a check and you putting that check in your pocket and keeping it in your wallet or putting it in your purse. Just because you've got a check on me doesn't mean you've got money yet. And just because I gave you a check doesn't mean that that money's come out of my account. Until that check goes to the bank, then that money stays in my account. And it's the same way with a vehicle. Until they go transfer it, even though it's signed and notarized, it's still yours. You're still the registered owner of it. So if you're buying or if you're selling, meet the other person at the clerk office. We're here Monday through Friday and on every Saturday except for holiday Saturdays. And you want to get the vehicle out of your name or get it in your name, whatever the case may be. And if you're looking online and you see a deal that sounds too good to be true, you can probably bet that it is too good to be true. But if you make sure that the seller has the title for the vehicle and the title's in their name, and you've checked with us about delinquent taxes or liens, and you meet them at the clerk office, you're going to be all right. Otherwise, you're running a little bit of a gamble. And nobody wants to get their income tax check back or any of their hard-earned money and lose it on something that they can't get legally put into their name. So beware of buying online. Just be careful, because we see people get stuck, and I don't like making it to where somebody can't vote, and I don't like when somebody gets stuck on a deal. It's not my vote or my money, but it hurts me a little bit. And the folks I work with here, you know, we want to see good things happen for good people. So just be cautious. Now, talking about next week's income tax deadline, it's also property tax deadline. Have you got your taxes paid on your property? That's not collected here yet. That's collected over at the sheriff's office. Have you got your taxes paid on your house, your your, your mama's house, your kids' houses, the rental houses, the old building that you ain't used in a while but you still own. If all of your properties had the taxes paid on them, because you don't want the sheriff to turn those bills over to us. You don't want the county clerk and the county attorney to get involved because it gets expensive. You're better off to go down to George or Pete or Bobby or down at one of our good local banks and borrow the money to pay the tax and pay them interest than you are to let the bill get turned over here and pay the fees that we're required to charge on those delinquent taxes. You've got until next Wednesday, close of business on next Wednesday, April 15th, to pay that tax. Now, I was talking to another clerk in another county out east today, and they were talking about all the bills that they expect next week. And this county's smaller than us, and they got less tax bills than us. And they were talking about getting about twice as many bills as what we get generally from the sheriff's office. We get, I think, looked the last 2 years, it was like 230, 225 out of 11,000 and some. So if you do the math on it, if you're listening to this right now, you've probably got your property tax bill paid. The odds are you've got your bill paid. But if you haven't, because you forgot about it, or you thought the mortgage company was paying it, and they didn't. I've got the sheriff's website up there. You can check them out at Sheriff of Marion Co. I don't know how to best read that. sheriffofmarionco.com/home/property taxes. And where I crudely circled right there, that's where you're going to go, where that arrow's pointing, to check to see if that has been paid. Or you can give them a call. They're Stephanie and Trina, the whole crew over at the sheriff's office. They're sweet as can be. They're smart and nice, and they would love to help you out, I'm sure. You can call them at 692-3051. They're willing to help you out. They don't want to turn it over here. They would just soon go ahead and help you out and get that taken care of. But that's coming up, so keep that in mind. I'm already past the point of when I told my wife I'd be home. We're going to leave it at that. Haven't heard the phone ring, so if you do have a question, you got until I quit talking here to holler at me. Tonight we have talked about, let's see, that's what it takes to become eligible for a mail-in ballot. We've looked at what's going to be on those ballots. The voter registration deadline is coming up here in about a week and a half, on April 20th. That's what your Democrat ballot looks like. That's what your Republican ballot's going to look, or those are the things I've cut them up to make them fit better, but those are what will be on the ballot. You can order those absentee ballots right now. If you're going to be buying or selling online, make sure to know who you're buying from and that they can sell it to you. And make sure your property taxes are paid, because when they come over here, they get expensive. And it's bad. And if it makes it to the tax sale later in the fall, it gets really bad then. So, like I say, go borrow the money from Pete or Bobby or George or whoever you bank with, and get those paid if you got to. That's all I got. Saturday, we'll be back live again. It won't be a Q&A It won't be our 11th. This was our 10th Q&A. It's interesting. We'll be live again, though. I'll be back down at the Mother House in Loretta for the County Judge Executive Forum. That's coming up at 4 o'clock on the 11th, which is Saturday. We'll stream that here on Facebook and YouTube. And if you want to go back and look at the jailer and the sheriff forums that they put on down at the Loretta Mother House, they're on our Facebook and YouTube. The jailer might have been where you do it live. It only lasts so long on Facebook, but they live forever, I guess, forever, a long time. They haven't been deleted off of YouTube yet. They're still available on YouTube, and that's Marion County Clerk Office, youtube.com/@Marion County Clerk Office on YouTube. So yeah, check those out. That way, whenever you go to vote, you are informed. And if you haven't yet, sign up for the HyperReach alert system, 270-321-3535. Text alerts to 270-321-3535. It might save your life. That's all I got. I'm going to get out of here, and hope y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you, Marion County, for allowing us to serve you. Wishing y'all the best night on this beautiful, goodness gracious, what a beautiful day it is out there. I'm Chad Manley, your county clerk. I'm going to leave you with that beautiful Marion County flag right about here. Good night, y'all.